Hi guys, me again. It's taken a lot for me to think about how I'm going to do this next video because I'm kind of letting my business out there a little bit, but it's fine. I mean, it's all a process that I have decided to undertake. So here it goes. I wanted to talk a little bit more about the reason why I had ended up in a women's refuge, and that stemmed from being in a 9.5 year relationship with my child's father. So halfway through our relationship, he started to get mental health issues. So basically, it all stemmed from the fact that he was smoking weed every day. But he was doing that from a young age, and nothing was wrong. But I did notice changes in him once he got some skunk from someone he didn't necessarily know. And I did warn him, like, dude, like, this doesn't feel right. And him being him, he never did listen to me, so what are you going to do? Anyway, throughout that time, from like 2011 up until now, it's exactly the same. But he basically, in end of 2011, Christmas time, he got sectioned around my birthday. And all that time, like, none of my friends knew. I'm just being real. None of my friends knew anything that was going on. It was mostly my tight circle, like my sisters and my mum and my dad, that knew stuff that was going on, and they supported a lot. There were times just before he got sectioned, the day that he did get sectioned, I remember I was in a fetal position outside. If anyone remembers the old station of Tottenham Court Road in London, they had a cove partition, and that bit was always open for some reason. But that night, I thank God it was, because it got to the point where I was so scared of the person he had become, I didn't know what else to do but to be in a fetal position in the corner of Tottenham Court Road station. So yeah, he got sectioned and I supported him like I felt someone who is in love with you would do. But then it started getting to the point where I felt like everything was kind of on me, and his family never helped, his friends never helped. It was literally just me. Like, I did everything. I was the only one working. I was the only one paying bills. I was like, it was starting to get on top of me, should I say. And because I lived in London and not my hometown, I felt like I was kind of by myself in a lot of ways, even though I was able to talk to my sisters and talk to my mum. A lot of it I felt like I had to hold back, because my sisters are ride or dies. Like, if you say he's done X, Y, and Z, they will just automatically hate the person. It is how our sisters roll. So I didn't want that to be emphasized a lot. So the year of from I would say it started to get a bit crazy around 2013, 2014. Because in 2013, I unfortunately lost my best friend and my second mum, which is my nan. I call her Mama. That was crazy. And then, yeah, that was a lot to deal with. And then I had to deal with losing someone that I had a lot of love for the year up, 10 months after. And then 2.5 months after that, I lost my granddad. So I'm just like, I know things happen in threes, but this is taking the mick. Okay? And then on top of that, I had to deal with my ex-partner and working in a job that I hated, and all of the stress coming on top of me. So I made a decision to go to Barbados with my mum to say my final goodbyes to my granddad. But I also did it for a bit of a selfish reason as well, because I kind of just needed to get away. Like, that was my prime opportunity to just get away. Like, to be able to just breathe a little bit and to be with my family and just think. Excuse me. I wasn't in that throughout that whole time, that whole period of time, that whole 4 years. I wasn't able to think for myself, really. I was always being depended on via somebody else, and it was just too much. So July 2014, I made the decision to go to Barbados, and that was probably the best 10 days, even though it was a grieving period. It was a come to Jesus moment for me too. I was just like, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to make this. I'm making my plans. I remember being on the beach and just looking out in the blue waters like, yeah, I'm making my 5-year plan and blah, blah. Yeah, I made up. And then 2 weeks later, once I landed, my son arrived. No, I love my son. I do. Please understand, I do. But at that point, I was just like, oh, mate, this is not what I planned. But it is what it is. I just have to just get on and just deal with it and be the person I need to be for him. Fast forward to giving birth to my child. That was traumatic. I'll let you guys know about. That's another video. But yeah, it was just a lot to deal with. Like, I just felt like there was so much weight on me. It's not just my shoulders, just weight on me that I just couldn't really handle, even at the point of giving birth, because it's not just the fact that I was caring for my ex-partner. I was now caring for another little human being, like, and had to make sure he was staying alive. Like, what? I could just about feed myself. Like, are you sure? So yeah, that was a lot. And then I just felt like all of the promises that he made to me during my pregnancy, about all the things that he's going to do and blah, 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 and he finally had a job and all this kind of stuff. And I was kind of leaning on that, like, okay, maybe, just maybe he'll do what he needs to do. And I know that mental health isn't a quick fix to just taking pills, because he was taking medication, and to a certain degree it was working, but I feel like he needed more help and no one was willing to help me help him. So it was just hard, and it just got to the boiling point of, you know what, I can't do this anymore. And I think Jaheem was 2 months old, and by the grace of God, my health visitor at the time, Lydia, she was amazing. Like, I felt like, even though as I said before, I did speak to my family and I did speak to the real ride or dies for me, she understood it on a completely different level. She's like, Charlene, you can't be in this anymore. It's not about you, it's about your son. Yes, it is about you as well, but it's more about him. So you need to make the decision whether you are going to do things for your son and make sure he has the best life imaginable, or are you going to stay in this rubbish where you're arguing every single day and you don't trust him to take your son anywhere. I never trusted him to take my son anywhere, and that's his dad. I didn't trust him because I felt like, okay, what if he has an episode and I'm not with him? then what's going to happen to my child? You're going to just leave my child somewhere? Like, it got to that. And financially, he wasn't helping at all. I did everything myself. I still paid the bills. I maintained Jaheem when it comes to food, clothes, nappies, milk, all of that. Like, and I felt like, why am I here? Like, why am I taking all this abuse from him with my child and still doing everything like a single parent? I might as well just leave. But I just didn't know how to. So my health visitor wrote a letter for me, and my care worker at the time wrote a letter for me to take it to my hometown council. And then it did take about a month and a half, and I was getting a bit worried because obviously I didn't want to let him know anything, just in case he would have tried to stop me. So I was like an undercover ninja out here. Yeah, I was getting all my bags together, hiding them in my wardrobe, and doing bare ninja type stuff. Yeah, it was a bit scary, I'm not gonna lie, because I had to look over my shoulder all the time, like hoping he wouldn't go into certain places of the flat, and it was a myth. But yeah, at 5.5 months old, me and my son, on the 28th of September 2015, I left my ex-partner and moved into a refuge. That was probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, because I already made a pact with him a couple of years before, like, I'll never leave you, you're my husband. But when you have a child, there's sacrifices you have to make. Now, if it was just me, I would probably still be in that relationship now, because I don't think I had the strength within myself to do it. But seeing my beautiful little boy not want to be around his dad at the tender age of 2 months, when I would go out for a cigarette and just be like, okay, babe, look out, like, just watch Jaheem. Just going out for a cigarette outside, just for a 2-minute breather, and I'll be back. Literally, I will leave the house and my son will be screaming to high heaven, to the point I will have 2 drags, if that, and I will run back upstairs. Like, what's going on? You don't like me, you don't like... That's when light bulb went on, like, what? If my son's like this now, what's it gonna be like in 2 years' time? Do you know what I mean? Like, I just want to make sure my son has the best possible upbringing, and if that's just with me right now, then so be it. But what I'm not gonna do is allow my child to just be in a situation that I could have helped be better. Now, I'm not trying to down my child's dad. I'm not. Because I wouldn't have been with him altogether 9.5 years if I didn't love him. I still do. But at the same time, right is right and wrong is wrong. And I knew, eventually, it took a minute, but I had to know my worth of what I would take. I have a niece. And would I allow my niece, or want to know that my niece is dealing with a similar situation, and just encourage her to carry on in it? No. I would say, know your worth, baby girl. You have to go and do you. Yes, it's a sacrifice you have to make, and yes, it's a situation where you probably feel like, why me? I love him. He loves me. Love, if he's meant for you, he'll fix up and do what he needs to do for you, to make sure that you two come together as one together properly. Unfortunately, that's not what's happened in my case, and it's okay. It's fine. I mean, it's fine. But what I've also realised is that I suppress a lot of my feelings, and I didn't realise that until Friday, properly. I think that's why this video was so hard for me to do, because I didn't know how I would feel today. I was talking to, because I was in a refuge, a charity called Home Start comes over every 2 weeks just to make sure I'm okay because I'm so far away from my family, just to see how I'm doing and all of that kind of stuff. And she was talking about, oh, you should look into putting Jaheem in a nursery or whatever, but I don't want to do that. Reason being, I feel like this might sound funny to you, but to me this is how I feel. Because of the where we've just come from, I don't want to miss. I feel like I've been punked in the first stages of motherhood, in a sense of not having the bonding. Like, I'm tight with me and my son are like this, but there's just another element that I wish I had with my son. For 18 months, I didn't have my own place where I can kind of nurture and do all of that amazing stuff that I see a lot of my friends who are mothers are able to do with their children. I wasn't able to do that, so I feel like I've been punked in. I was punked up until February of this year. So I don't want to really miss out on that kind of stuff, because when he goes to school, that's it. Do you know what I mean? But I also feel like I'll be abandoning him, because one half of him isn't around and hasn't been around since he was 6 months old. So I feel like if I let him go for a couple of hours, then I'm just like, oh, I'm sorry, like, I feel bad. So that's the reason why. But it also made me understand that I'm still not over the hurt and the pain and the frustration and the disappointment and the anger and the loss of everything. So I say that to say, it's okay to feel upset. It's okay to still feel pain. Just don't let it sit with you. Don't suppress it so much that you in a sense forget. Don't do that, because then you'll be like me. Over the weekend, I was down because I was like, how has it come to this? It's okay to grieve for a little while. But once you have that grieving session over, make sure it's not still in your mainstream, because otherwise you can't move on with your life. Okay, peoples? Anyway, this has been a long video, and I got things to do. So I might do this again tomorrow. We'll see. But thank you for listening. It's been a minute. Peace.